Two, they're going for it, buddy.
Oh boy. Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's Sunday morning. We got a great guest. We have Gammon Brown. If you haven't met him, I don't know where you've been. This guy's everywhere. True faithful, true faithful. And I have David McNiner here, my great co-host, and we're going to be breaking it down. David had breaking news. Breaking news. We have a game going on right now. And David, would you give us the score highlight update?
Well, right now it's 10-6 Colts, but the Colts are driving, and I mean it has been a back and forth defensive battle. The Patriots drove down, and Mac Jones throws a pick that would have been a touchdown if it would have been thrown correctly. And now it's 4th and 2 with 2:30 to go in the game, and the Colts are about to go for it. Because honestly, Blake Zappi is warming up on the sidelines.
What an awesome last name. He was trying to say McCorkle Jones. McCorkle. That's probably,
That's right. That's right. Michael McCorkle. That's right.
Yeah, you guys know the little cliche, the little statement in the shop. Someone would be like Mac Jones, who? Mike Jones, who? So anytime you got somebody named Jones, you yell who. So yeah, try to be funny. White guy humor in the morning. Sorry.
I'm just saying if the Patriots end up, ending the season with a top 10 pick, well, when you've got players like Zappi and McCorkle, that might be a reason as to why, right there.
So thank you very much, everybody, for coming. We have Gammon here. Gammon, tell us a little bit about yourself. How'd you become a 49er fan? You're not too much older than me. We don't need to know your age, but we do know that you're here, you're alive, and that's all that we really care about. But again, please tell us a little bit about yourself, and tell us anything you want the faithful to know.
Yes, I'm a Sacramento Kings fan, like the Beam. I originally from the Bay Area, migrated down to Sacramento in the Army, now stationed in Tennessee at this point in time. 39 years young, and just I became a 49ers fan because it was either that or you become a salty Raiders fan, and the Raiders fans get what they get. I mean, they've moved and journeyed all across everywhere. So just glad to be here representing the faithful. When you said that I'm a faithful man, my wife would agree with that as well. So faithful all the way. So I'm just ready to get this show rolling.
That's right. I love it. I always say, I'm a true faithful. I love the Niners. I love God. I'm a Batman fan. And I love my family. Not at all in that order. It's, you can mix it all up, but that's how I remember it. Right. But the back of my cup, it says faithful on the back of it. And I just tell you what, that's where it is. I have a redhead. I love her to death. She's been my friend since, since she was 12. And let's, just got to keep it happy. Happy wife.
How old is she now? Don't leave us off at the 12 part.
We'll leave it like that. I'm sure she's wanted everything disclosed, but yeah, I'm about 37, so she's not much younger than me, and really, really, truly happy. We're both from Stockton, so we're not too much farther from you. From
209.
Yep. I ran to UOP where the training camp was for like the 2-3 years that I was here in Stockton. I almost made every event at one time in 1 year. The Stockton Record, the newspaper in Stockton, used to come out with a sports section, kind of like the Chronicle, but the front page would be all attributed to 49ers. And then, as you got into it, you got a little bit of the sports that was happening, but it was basically a big clip for the 49ers for the training camp. So at one time I had like a stack of papers, right? And it's really funny. I lived in Kentucky, so it's really neat that you're there in Tennessee. I was right there above Static. Do you know where Tennessee is, where it says Static, and you go into 127, you're going up there into Monticello, Kentucky, Albany, Kentucky. I worked right there at the state line. So we'd have to leave to go get beer. We lived in the Bible Belt section, right? And you can only buy beer on certain days.
That's right. Not today. Not today.
So we'd have to leave, and we'd have to drive into Tennessee. It was about a 45-minute drive for us, there and back. And we'd go get some beer and come back. And yes, you have to buy enough beer to make sure that because there's not you can't just run to the liquor store. There's no corner store at the end of the road. So we've had a lot of fun there. But when
sorry, just to cut you off. So for anybody who's lived in California, only lived in California all their lives, I was completely caught off guard, being stationed here in Fort Campbell. So actually half of the base is on Tennessee, the other half of the base is in Kentucky. And so if you didn't allocate or get enough beer on Saturday, there's a chance you may not be able to get any beer on Sunday. Or in Tennessee, you can get the beer on Sunday, but it would have to be like after like a certain period of time. Like even though they had the beer and the wine stocked and shelved, you can't get it after like noon or something like that. So any early games on the West Coast, those 9-10 a.m. games, you're SOL at that point.
So what thing was really fun is, I just got my license down there. I'm driving. And what happens? I could drive up to a bar that has a window on the outside, like a Pizza Hut or something like that, and order beer. I didn't have to go inside to get beer. So this, it was really, really wild. And we were talking about the other day with my brothers, and I said, you guys remember we could just drive up and get beer? And they're like, well, you can do that still. And I'm like, I don't know where you can do that in California. I really don't. But so you can drive up and get your beer and go. I did it at a bar one time, and I did it at Sugar Shack. It's another bar, but it's a little bit bigger of a store. They actually have a little bit larger of a clientele. But hey, get back to it. Football's great. Football's everywhere. But one thing I didn't like about living back south is not being able to see the 49ers regularly. It seemed like the Cowboys was everywhere, and as close as I lived to Ohio, not seeing the Bengals didn't make sense to me. Not seeing the Titans, I'm like right above Tennessee, but you see the Cowboys everywhere. And it just, I did not like that year of almost 2 years living in Kentucky, but it wasn't the land. The state's beautiful. It was the television.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wild times when I saw AJ Brown get traded and just like how depressed Tennessee was. But yeah. I'm curious to hear some of your guys' thoughts here. Chase freaking Young debut. That's right. Say that 5 times fast for us, David. Almost game time. Thank goodness. I mean, just having the taste of 5 weeks of losing almost in your mouth, Faithful. There we go. Yes, sir. But yeah,
I can't wait. Update on the game real quick. Blake Zappi just threw an INT with 30 seconds left, and the Patriots are driving. So,
So this is a key point right here. The Notorious Gav, salute to you, sir. I've seen you around. Lawrence is the second fastest quarterback in the league to let the ball out of their hands in 2.4 seconds. I'm not sure if this game we see the best of Chase Young. Well, I think this is really kind of what we're talking about, right? Like, to me, this game to me is going to be our defensive line coach's Picasso right here, right? Because the reason why Lawrence gets the ball out of his hands so quickly is because you have the play action with Etienne, right? You have the RPOs, you have those bubble or screen passes. The reason why he gets the ball out of his hands so fast, when you go back and you watch the film or you watch the tape, it's not because he's just hyper analyzing what he's got to do and what he's got to adjust and account for, a la like a Brock Purdy or a Tua or something like that. It's because he has an extremely, extremely quarterback friendly coach in Peterson who makes sure, hey, we're going to come out of this game and we're going to shoot some layups. The other reason too why they do so many layup shots is because their offensive line. It ain't it. Like, we know that our offensive line ain't it. Their offensive line ain't it either. So there's a method to their madness. So you're going to be looking at them doing that. So really what our defensive line's job or Chase Young's job is, Chase Young doesn't have to get any sacks or anything like that this game. And if all of a sudden it looks like he doesn't get a lot of pressures, there may be why. His job may be to contain, seal the edge, or try to blow up or take on blockers on those screen passes. So that way Warner, Greenlaw can do their job. You know that Chase and our defensive line had a great game. If Greenlaw and Warner are blasting those gaps, lighting dudes up, and then that's how you know that we're having a great game. So base your judgment on Young off that if his stat line is flat.
Awesome. That's why I wanted to have you on, because you can speak so well and very elegantly. So there was something that just recently happened, right? And I think we all know we've had some injuries. We've had some, dare I say it, tinfoil hat conspiracies. Will we try to make room for other players coming in and trying to make adjustments for these big names that we just signed? I don't know, but it just seems really weird that Drake Jackson is hurt. And now Hargrave is hurt, and I don't know. I'm not saying the sky is falling, but this just we get an edge rusher, and then we get one that's hurt. It seems very convenient, doesn't it?
Yeah, yes and no. The Drake Jackson seems more on the doghouse convenient than an actual like he's hurt. I mean, that guy is the way I saw him running around during the Cincy game, if he was injured, I was like, boy, it sure didn't look like it. But as far as like Hargrave being a little injured, I mean, that could be a little bit of a blessing in disguise. I think just having two interior linemen who just really just want to pound the ball up front or get into the backfield as quickly as possible. I think this could give somebody like Kinlaw or another defensive tackle a chance to shine, a chance to kind of really set in there and instead be that complement to either Bosa on your right or Armstead on your left, right? Like it could have been one of those situations, just too many Chiefs, not enough Indians. When we looked at Burrow's, when his rushing attempts, his biggest rushes that he had, they were literally straight up the gaps from where you had Hargrave and Armstead there. Because I just think that those guys were pressing so hard. But when you do that, when you push forward, it's going to allow a guy like Burrow, a guy like Lawrence, a chance to kind of step up into the pocket and then investigate, like, oh, there's more room here. Let me go ahead and see what other kind of yards and room that I can find. This one right here, I wish Trent would take another week off. I wish that he would too, but Twin, when it comes down to these players, right, I always think about it, especially for me being in the military or some of my soldiers. You can't take them off the battlefield. I mean, that is, their brothers are there. You know, you can't just give them ice cream and tell them, you know, here's the Haagen-Dazs. Go sit here on this little tiny television and watch everybody else perform. You just feel terrible. It was like Michael Jordan. They were saying, you know, hey, Mike, if you go out there, there's a chance that you could ruin your body in such a way to where you could never play again. You know, imagine if you take some of these pills, one of these pills cures the headache, the other one will kill you. And then Michael's response was, well, how bad is the effing headache, right? And so that's the thing. When you try to shut down these guys, they don't respond to you telling them no. They're hyper athletic. He's only got so many more games, not even like years, but probably so many more games left in the tank, right? I think that if we were to say the over under, how many more games of Trent are we going to see? 30, right? I think most people go under that. So these athletes don't respond well to saying no. It's up to the medical professionals to shut them down. But as we know, that's just the largest land mammal in the northern continental United States is not going to stay down at all, especially not for a big game like this. I did want to say this though. But the big reason why I do agree with Twin Empire on this one is our schedule has been nothing but absolutely brutal. I fault no 49ers players for taking a game off or anything like that. Because when you look at this, usually in a 14-day span, right, you play 2 games. Well, in a 12-day span, we're going to be playing 3 games. Get your rest, out of the bye, shot out of a cannon, 3 games, less than 2 weeks. If that's not brutal, I don't know what is. So when people are talking about this game being a must-win, this is kind of why I think people are alluding to this game being a must-win, because if you look tired during the Cincinnati game, you're probably going to look tired your third game in 12 days. So this game is just very, very important. And I think that if we don't do well in this game, I think that the talk needs to be centered around Kocurek. I look at all the players that he has on the defensive line, the players he should be the most successful coach on the 49ers. What do you guys think?
Well, I think this is a point that needs to be said. Last year or 2 years ago, when Trent could have played, and he did choose to play against the Rams, and then later on he said he probably shouldn't have played. He put the team at risk.
Right.
I say this is arrogance, but it is the warrior. It's the mentality. It's the soldier in you. I didn't go to the military. I really wish I would have, but there was some underlying health issues on why I got ran over by a truck when I was younger. It broke the back of my skull. They just recommended it wasn't a good idea for me. I do have migraines every once in a while, more than I want to say. So you might see me sometimes and I don't look like I might be feeling the best, and I just might not be. But long story short, I wanted to go in the military in several different branches. It didn't work out for me. So I am a little, really, actually very, very jealous of you. I know it's not the highest paying job, but it's a very noble job to me. But when Trent came out and said that he wasn't, 100%, and he really put the team back, how much better do you think you are than the next man who's 100% or would actually try, even if he's 90%, he's going to try to put out 110% effort for his team, for his brothers, right? Mm-hmm. So not trying to say, oh, you shouldn't have went out and played, Trent, because if you really are that much better, or you really think you can go, because when you can go, we know how great you are. But at a certain point, you do have to say, okay, guys, I'm here if you need me, but I think we need to believe in this guy over here. I don't think that's, it's a shoulda, coulda, woulda thing. Like if Trent tells me he's ready to go, I'm suiting up behind him. I'm going to play quarterback, right? I got my tackle over there, right? So I'm confident in that man. But if he says he can't, or if he's like at the end of the year, like if you got to go back and see the Ian Williams, shout out East Coast Red and Gold. They had Ian Williams on the other day on their show. Really great interview. He went on to say that the reason he retired was because of his ankle. And he got done talking to the doctors, and they said, you can keep playing, you can rehab, but when you get to about 40, 45, you might not be walking. So what's more important to you? I mean, like, I know, like, winning a Super Bowl for me as a fan is the most important thing for the Niners to happen. But these guys, they're not commodities. They are people, and they do need to think of their life at the end of, sports. Whatever career you have, you need to always think of what you're going to do after you retire. So, David, let me ask you the same question as Gammon, and get into Gammon's question too. What do you think? Is this like a conspiracy? Is this like convenience? Like, one, we have Trent, who says he can come, he can play, but he was really gingerly. Then you have our next guy, Feliciano will be stepping up next to him because our other guy has turf toe. Then on the defensive line, Drake Jackson's hurt. Gregory seems to be hurt. We have Hargrave who's hurt. And we got this new toy. We got a new fancy toy. And Debo's back too. So is this just convenient that, we got Chase and, we got to sit somebody down because they re-signed a couple guys from the practice squad to the team. And it just, to me, I mean, you gotta be able to finagle, right? So let me get your thoughts, David.
I think that Drake Jackson injury, it's being reported something about tendonitis, and it's like, well, why hasn't this come up before? So yeah, it's 100% fishy. They put him on IR, make it an extra roster spot for a player, right? Mm-hmm. Oh. And it's 100% fishy. Hargrave, when did this knee injury happen? I never saw him even limp off the field in the Cincinnati game. So, are the boys working on the farm? Oh, shout out to Brock Purdy for, working some cornrows. But I mean, it's just all kind of strange. And, Gammon made an excellent point. We have two pass rushing defensive tackles in there. We've always had Armstead and a guy next to him like a DJ Jones, T.Y. McGill, Kevin Givens, a guy that's plugging the hole and doing his job, but could still get to the quarterback if they leave him one-on-one, which, well, we do have a guy that hasn't been active, Kalia Davis, Kalia Davis.
Yep.
And he's a DJ. He has DJ Jones body type. He's short. He's actually gained some weight in the off season working out. He's over 310 pounds now. But we got a guy right there that could keep make everyone keep their gap, not open a big gaping Grand Canyon in the middle for the quarterback to take off at. But I don't know if we'll even see him play. That's
kind of the big thing, right? And that's why I put this on Kocurek, because this is his chance to paint his Mona Lisa. This is his chance to kind of put that little French or the chef's kiss on this game, because he gets to choose the lineups, right, that are kind of going out there. When it's also too kind of up to the running. When we say, why don't we see Mason out there? Well, it's because the running back position coach isn't going like, hey, you know what I mean? I'm putting JP out there for this play. You know what I mean? Like, Shanahan's just going to call that play. But and when it comes down to it, David, you've got the ripped muscle shirt, you're ready to go. You're in the front office. You're Kyle Shanahan in this small 6x6 cubicle in your office there. And then you tell, you post up a sign of like who's not playing, who is playing. On the is not playing is a lurking giant by the name of Trent Williams. Now, I'm 6'2" and 225 pounds. So when I throw a fit, people get a little nervous, right? Like if a stapler goes flying across the room, that's scary. Trent Williams would just absolutely squeeze all the oxygen. Like, think about how big shit. Like, if he just slammed the tables, like, coach, I'm playing, or I will strangle the life out of you. You're like, yes, you are. You look like you're ready to play. Like, you're not telling that man that he's not playing if he says he's playing. And I can only think of like a medical personnel who's like 5'8", 165. Is it going to be like, yeah, I'm drawing a red line through your hand. But I do want to say I'm really, really excited about Feliciano playing. I actually, before the season started, that was the only thing I really felt they had done in the last couple years to shore up their offensive line. I picked him to be the starting right guard over Burford. It's not that he's more physically skillful than him, but when you go back and you'd watch some of the old film, some of the old tape with him on the Giants, you would see, so the Giants have an atrocious offensive line. Absolutely. It's worse than ours. As much vitriol that we give our offensive line, there are offensive lines that are worse. And when you saw him, whenever the plays were breaking down, you would see him starting already in like a bad situation. But then what you'd see is like how smart he was and how good he was with technique. Because he doesn't have the physical skills to wow you. But what I absolutely loved was that he realized that one of his linemen would be, because they run kind of like their offensive line schemes are similar to ours. So that's why he was so quick to plug and play. What I loved is that whenever something broke down, one of his fellow linemen would mess up mid-play. And, you have those helmets on, so it's hard to see peripherally so far to your left and right. And he was there like Mr. Fix-It, trying to go like, okay, well, I can't be in two places at once. And so he was kind of left with like, you can't pick a right decision. So you have to pick the least worst decision to make. And what I saw him do was continuously make the less like kind of worst decision. And so I just thought with that kind of veterancy that he would be great to have with kind of a new starting right tackle, right? Like center with not that much game time. And then when we're kind of talking about, hey, would I take a Trent Williams who's kind of busted on one leg over, the young man that's been starting there in place, which hasn't been doing a terrible job? It would shock and surprise a lot of people that I'd pick Trent Williams for the same reason that even if like I heard that Kobe Bryant had a knee injection the night before the game, it's just there's something about somebody's command authority, their command, presence. When you walk out there with he's just a different kind of guy. Like you're not going to get picked on. He's our big brother. And then whether the other team knows it, he's their big brother too. And he will let you know. So there's just, I think it even makes Brock Purdy more confident to see Big Trent out there. So I think the biggest question is number one, they cleared him. Number two, I don't care who you are. You can say, I wouldn't allow Trent to play. He steps in that cubicle and you can't get out past the door from him. You're going to tell him yes. And then number three, what does Brock say? If Brock says, I want that man out there on the field of battle with me, he's going out there. Yeah. Trent is a leader. He's a silverback. He's a lot of things to this team. But yeah, I mean, he's absolutely a captain. He's got that C on his chest. So if he wants to go, we're ready to roll, especially in this isn't a must-win game. We dropped this game. It's not the end of the world, but it sure would be nice 3 games, 12 days to pick this one up because we're just out of fatigue and attrition. You have to think that we're going to lose this game. When you guys look at, and David, this question for you, you look at the next 3 games. Okay. So if you guys can pull up the next 3 games, try and buy you some time here. Next 3 games, the way that this, let's say we win this game, right? Out of the next 2 games, what's the one game that you think that will drop? And which one do you think is the most okay one to drop, right? Because we have the NFC, right? And that sort of thing. So this AFC game technically isn't the worst game that we could lose because it's not a divisional game, right? So, but out of these 3 games, but let's say we win here in Jacksonville, which one's the next game out of the next 2 looking forward that you're like, we lose that one, it's okay? Which is the most acceptable loss to eat?
Well, honestly, we dug ourselves a hole with this 3-game lose streak.
We like holes.
If we would have won one of these games, then it's like, all right, no problem, But I honestly think the Turkey Day at Seattle would be the most likely one we're going to lose. And
no,
I know I don't want to lose that game. I want our players to be eating turkey on the 50-yard line. Yes, I'm with Brian on this. But it's the most likely one. The Eagles, they've looked beatable. They do not look invincible. The Cowboys had every chance in the world to win that game, and they just couldn't do it. They just couldn't. They choked. But, I do look at this like it's a must win. Just you have to shed that losing streak. Make it no more. It's a thing of the past. And I'm curious to see on how clean we play because we've had a lot of penalties. Someone's told me, "Oh, we only had 5 in that." No, we had 5 accepted in that game. There were a lot more than that they weren't accepting because it didn't make sense to them. So we need to play clean football. Yeah. Seems like we've had discipline problems. This is all things that the coaches can fix, and they've had 2 weeks to do it. Right?
Exactly. And Brent, when you look in that offensive, right? Because we're kind of talking about the defense. We've got to be ready for these RPOs. We got to be ready. This isn't a game where we're saying like we're gonna get and sack Lawrence 4 to 5 times this game, right? They really pull us left and right. It is kind of what their MO is. They have a lot of speed vertically, but they go left and right with it. Now that we have Deebo back, right, and some of those things, is that kind of in reducing the mistakes that our young quarterback Brock Purdy is making? Is that something that you're kind of looking for us to do too? Because that's not a defense we really want to challenge vertically either, and it'd be nice to kind of get back to using, the full sides of the field, left and right.
Okay, real quick, shout out to deep fried turkey, everybody. I know it's way off the walls, but everybody in the chat's talking about it. If I could ever make it to Seattle, I am definitely eating turkey in that parking lot, win or lose. Hopefully we win. I got to do it. But deep frying turkey, I do it almost every year. I have a big 36 quart turkey fryer. I'll do 3 or 4 turkeys at Thanksgiving. We're planning on having a big grub down cookout at my house this month. My brother will be bringing a Traeger over, so we're going to smoke a turkey as well. And we're going to have a lot of fun. So, yes, if you haven't had deep fried turkey, check it out.
I've never deep fried a turkey. I'm scared.
Oh my God. It's a totally different beast, right? But for our team, Brock Purdy doesn't show fear. Brock Purdy is very confident, overconfident, maybe, but I don't think he's arrogant. I think he can go out there and play with anybody, and he's going to put his best forth, first foot, out there, So the problem, though, I think, is when Debo was off the field, everybody went after CMC. When you have both of those guys, you don't know who they're going to go after. And I think, Kittle's not enough. Juice isn't enough. Ayuk's not enough. But when you have a Debo and a CMC, you can put any other combination of our offensive weapons out there on the field. And I don't think that any defense can really contain it. So you can even pull Brock Purdy out and put maybe Sam Darnold or put Jimmy Garoppolo in there. I think it's going to be the same mentality. When you have those two, you don't know which person's getting the ball. So they can both play decoy, and the rest of the game, it's going to be great for the rest of the players. So guys, let's we got like 30 minutes. Let's 20 minutes. Let's run through this. And I think it'd be fun if we do it this way. Gammon, let's give you Houston and Cincinnati because you're closer. And then we'll go New Orleans and Minnesota because you're closer, David. So what's your thoughts on the Texans, DeMeco and Jimmy Ward going and playing Joe Burrow and Who Dat, right? It's Who Dat.
Yeah.
Who Dat go and beat the Bengals. It wasn't us.
Yeah. I shout out to DeMeco Ryans, everything that he's doing over there with the Texans. It's we all know a losing culture is something that's really hard to change. I saw that with the Sacramento Kings. If anybody knows what losing looks like in a team giving up, because people are trying to say the 49ers are a team that looks like they give it up. No. I have a PhD in what teams look like giving up. Watch the Kings for the last 17 to 18 years. But as far as them pulling out a win, their defense just isn't there yet. I do like some of their pieces, but a heck of a quarterback. I wish we had him, but that's kind of where they're at. And shout out to the defensive backs coach, Bobby Slowick. I think that he is doing a really good job, and he's really promoting heavy activity in communication. So I like what they're building over there.
I like it. David, Carr is driving to Minnesota. Dobbs is the new quarterback. Do you like that?
I don't like that. Dobbs won one game in Arizona, against the Cowboys. So shout out to him, But at this point, the Minnesota without Kirk Cousins, I honestly think they got lucky last week and pulled out that victory. So I can see that car just driving away with the W.
All right, I love it. Okay, so my game, and I'm actually picking against them, so shame on me, right? Hope my uncles aren't listening. Gammon, my dad's a Raider fan. All my brothers are Raider fans. Okay, so I know about what you're talking about earlier. But my dad grew up.
My wife's from Oakland. So like all of her family, it's rough.
So my dad, he grew up in Indiana, right? All of his brothers, he's got 5 brothers. They're all Packer fans. So it got hard for him growing up, right? So I like Green Bay. I really do. But I'm picking Pittsburgh. I think the terrible towels will be shaken. I think Jordan Love is going to be a better and better quarterback. I just don't think he has all the pieces he needs this year. Yeah. So, Gammon, we're going to give you Tampa Bay. Well, it's going to be Tennessee and Tampa Bay. What's your thoughts?
Oh, gosh, Tampa Bay all the way. It's just – especially sitting here and like you said, when you live in Kentucky or Tennessee, you're going to get a lot of the local games. So I get a lot of the Tennessee games. And Tennessee has a defense. Like it was so funny when people, started the season, they wanted the 49ers to be the number one defense. They expected that this year. And I was like, I hate to hurt some people's feelings, but there's a lot of good defenses, secondaries that are out there. Tennessee has a very, very good defense. Well, now they've actually traded away their star safety, right, to the Eagles. So I just and Baker Mayfield likes to go over the top, and he's got the weapons to do that. So without them having that Pro Bowl safety anymore, I don't see them being able to stop a nosebleed.
See, I took Tampa Bay initially. But I do my weekly pick'ems with Corey, and when I sent my pick'ems in, because I didn't jump on this week, when I sent my pick'ems in, I had wrote Tennessee, so I don't go and change my pick after that. But Tony had initially taken Tennessee. I was like, okay, I'm going to take Baker Mayfield initially because they're on a 4-game losing streak, and I'm thinking they gotta break it sooner or later, right? But the Titans have been getting sneaky, scary good. But like you said, they started selling players. So when you start selling everybody, it's like, what are you going to cook with? So I see Baker. Good point. David, we're going to skip the Niner game in Jacksonville because we'll all come back and speak on that. So I'm going to give you Cleveland and Baltimore. How do you feel about the dog pound and the purple chickens?
Well, it's the Browns versus the original Browns.
Yeah.
You know, it's the franchise versus the franchise that started in their city. At this point, the Ravens, they're flying high. Them purple chickens, they're flying high. They're probably going to get sucked into a jet. They're doing really good. I don't see them losing to the Browns, and you know, even with Deshaun Watson. But you never know. It's one of those pesky divisional matchups.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point. Gammon, we got Atlanta, and they seem to have some quarterback problems. And with Arizona, they seem to have some quarterback problems too. But I think there's their baseball player, Kyler Murray, Call of Duty guy, he's coming back. He should be starting. I think they held him out last week against the Browns. That defense, I don't know if it was just right for him to come back, but they're going to start him. My thoughts and what I've heard is he's playing against Atlanta, so it's going to be that desert sun. What do you think?
So this is one of the tougher matchups to kind of predict, and the reasons why are what you kind of laid out. Both quarterbacks or both situations are going to have quarterback issues, right? Arizona just got rid of Dobbs. That's the thing. I think if they had Dobbs, to me, this would be an easier victory for, Arizona, especially playing at home. But it's the fact of like who's going to be able to establish the run more, and it's what both teams are going to want to do. And I'm going to be completely transparent here. I'm not sure whose defense is better at and predicated towards stopping the run. So just to pull a rabbit out of the hat, I'm going to pick Atlanta on this one. I just think that their team's going to have a little bit more stability. I can't imagine what it was like for that locker room when you sent your starting quarterback, trade him away mid-season for peanuts. I think that's a demotivator, not an escalator for the motivation. So for that reason, I'm going to go with the Falcons.
I kind of agree. I really do. But because it's a home game, I'm going Arizona. But we will break all that down. Detroit and the Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers should never move from San Diego. They really killed their fan base. They killed their relationship. They should I don't know. They used to be an LA team, but that was a long time ago. When you leave and you're in a team for another city for 60-something years, you just kind of got to eat it up. And they were such a huge military team, like just the beautiful city. Everybody always said it was great to go play in San Diego. Again, why the Raiders weren't allowed to go to LA instead of the Chargers, it just doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't, because you could have had the Rams and the Raiders back in LA, but the Rams might not have been that favorite team to be in LA, and I think that was the number one outlier. So shout out to the Chargers for getting rent-free in the LA stadium. Okay, so my thoughts is Detroit's a really healthy team. Scary. They could make a really strong run, get maybe the third seed in the playoffs if they're smart. They got an easy schedule coming across, but LA Chargers have good wide receivers. They got a good quarterback if he puts it together. They just don't have the front office or the coaching staff, but they're a team. So if you take everything I just said, the organization away, and you take the coaches away, and you plug and play somebody like Shanahan or Pete Carroll into a LA Charger offense, that team could be really, really scary. There's just some components that's just not like, how do you let the Raiders a year ago tie and you make playoffs are important, and when you let a team tie, you don't control your destiny anymore. So I'm going Chargers in this game because I want Detroit to lose, but I'm not very confident that Detroit will lose.
I think Detroit's gonna win this game. I want Detroit to lose too. I think that the issues that you allude to right there, right? Coaching, front office. I just don't see the LA Chargers head coach keeping their job at the end of the season. Too much talent on that field to end up with the record that they have.
Way too much talent. The wide receivers are taller than clouds. I mean, like, they got a quarterback that's young and he's going to be in the league for 10, 15 years if he can stay upright. They got a good offensive line. There's too much talent for that team to underachieve. So we're going to give you New York and Dallas, Gammon. How do you feel about that? How about them Cowboys?
I feel like New York's going to win this game, and I feel really confident about it. Look, when push comes to shove, they are that big, that kid who's just big for nothing, that high schooler who's 6'3", and there you are, just a sophomore, and there's a senior, and he's 6'3", you're 5'9", whatever it is, right? Just a lot of bark just coming out of that yapper of a mouth, but you lick them in the chops real good, just a little boop, little bop in the snout, and they fold like a lawn chair. And that's really what I think about when you get really physical. And now if they're allowed to get downhill on you, for sure, but Saleh, I've never seen a Saleh team, whether that was on the 49ers, New York, right, East, West, I don't care, North, South. They come out ready to fight, and they have fighters on that field, regardless of whatever's going on in that quarterback room. I just don't see their that offense, right, with their starting quarterback for Dallas. They're not going to like what they're going to see there, and I just feel like that bleeds into their defense. Micah Parsons, I really thought was the Defensive Player of the Year candidate. After watching his podcast, way too soft. It's just not going to happen. Got to be honest. Call a spade a spade.
So, are you taking an upset?
I'm taking the Jets all the way.
The Giants. Okay.
Or, did I say? I thought we were saying the Jets, not the Giants.
Yeah, it's New York Giants.
The Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas wins. The score will be 63-5. There we go.
Because
Cowboys win. Boy, I went way off on there. I'm so sorry, guys.
It's okay. It's okay.
2 screens. I was looking at the wrong one.
It's totally okay. Giants, they lost Danny Dimes. He's not worth a nickel anymore. He's not. It's like, I'm sorry.
He's not worth a nickel, man. If only they had an offensive line. But yeah.
Okay, David. Washington and Seattle. I think I know who you're rooting for, but I think I know who you expect to win. So your thoughts?
It's at Seattle, so unfortunately I did pick Seattle to win this game, but this is an L I would take with a smile, folks. You never know what the commies are going to do. They're one of those teams. Ron Rivera he's a decent head coach, but they just traded away their best defensive ends, somehow came out with a victory after doing that. So you truly never know. That Washington is a wild card.
Foreshadowing.
So I took the Jets this year to be my Super Bowl prediction against the 49ers when Aaron Rodgers was healthy. Okay, when he was healthy, I still think they could make the playoffs. But I don't think they're going to beat the Raiders. The Raiders just fired everybody, right? They fired everybody. And they did what the Chargers should do. And they got to win. So I see the Raiders. This is a home game for the Raiders. I see the Raiders coming to town and saying, come on in, come visit us, and being happy to actually have a home crowd. So I think the Raiders can win this game. We got
Aaron Rodgers might be getting a bionic limb, though. He might be back.
If the playoffs happen, he
don't do it, Aaron. Don't do it, Aaron.
You guys know the bionic man, right? So that's Aaron Rodgers coming back. We have Denver and Buffalo. Gammon, what's your thoughts?
I'm picking Denver this game.
Really?
It's just Josh Allen. He is an amazing quarterback. He really is. But when he gets in front of a good defense, a stingy defense, for whatever reason, he stops seeing with his eyes, And on Sundays, he puts his faith in the Lord Almighty, and he kind of zips it that way. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a slugfest, and then Denver ends up winning this one. Look, Denver's good in the cold. They're good in the high altitude, right? They have a decent kicker, and they have a coach. This is no by means am I saying I pick Russell Wilson over Josh Allen, but I'm a big believer in running the football and time of possession. You play keep away from Josh Allen. Josh Allen eventually gets pressed. He throws a couple dandies that he has no business throwing. So, yeah, low scoring game. I'm going to really set it at 17-13 Broncos upset.
I like it because sometimes you got to have that in there, and if it happens, it happens. I wouldn't be mad. He is my Bills quarterback's my fantasy football quarterback, so I need him to
not this week. Not this week.
But I need him to at least have points. But yeah,
better put Zappy in there.
Okay, I'm gonna break it off real quick. We got a couple minutes, everybody. Before we have a game, everyone, thank you so much, Gavin, for coming. Yep. And Gavin was our guest yesterday. 2 G's. We've been blessed with 2 G's this weekend.
For a double dose of that game day. So
So San Francisco is going to Jacksonville. The Niners are playing the Jaguars. We are 4-2 against the Jaguars. Our first game was in 1999. They won the first 2 matchups, and we've won the last 4 straight. We've beat them in Florida. We beat them in England. We beat them in San Francisco. We beat them in Santa Clara. So thank you.
In a box with a box, wherever.
Yep. But they do have a really good quarterback. He's mobile. So I would like to see a really good game. I want to see what Chase Young has to do. I'm looking forward to a high scoring game. I'm going to predict 42-38 Niners win. That's what I got.
Woo. Boy, I've got the opposite. I've got 21-17. I think both these teams respect each other's secondaries. Both these teams come in with 11 interceptions, tying the so you make a hairline mistake. Either quarterback, I don't care how talented you are, both teams have seen it all. You make a hairline mistake, it's going to get picked off. So I think both these teams have that mutual respect. Also, too, I think with Deebo Samuel being back, there's more increase in the bubble screens, and then you're going to have a chance for Brandon Ayuk to have one-on-ones. Now, when Deebo was gone and they started to bracket or double team Brandon Ayuk, he wasn't that explosive of a player. So those who are saying we need to get rid of Deebo, take that as you will. But I really feel like he's the straw that stirs this team's offensive drink.
Love it. I love it. Can't replace Deebo. Ayuk, maybe, but Deebo, you cannot. David, your thoughts? We got this great game coming up in just a couple minutes.
I think I picked the score of 23-20, but I normally don't like doing score predictions. I just have us winning by a field goal, and I honestly expect our team to play clean today. They've had 2 weeks to think about it. 2 weeks with that taste of a loss in their mouth.
I love it, David. He's calling it by a field goal. Everybody in chat. Moody.
All right, folks, we've had a lot of fun here. Hopefully everybody has had enough time to get game prep, get your breakfast on, or get your sandwiches for the game. I am finishing my cup of coffee. I'm going to jump out. Appreciate you guys as always. You guys are great guests. Gammon would love to have you on again. Please, everybody, do what Steve-O said. If you guys don't know who Shifty is a great guy. He has a 49er Shifty. He's great. Please go rate his channel. He's going to start doing the game real soon. And then Corey Davis is also streaming the game. So if you need to listen to somebody when you're watching the game, or you want to be a part of an interactive chat, Corey Davis or Shifty is great to hang out with. Guys, thank you so much for coming. And everybody, stay faithful. Go Niners.
Go Niners and F the Lambs.
Woo! Let's go, baby. Bang, bang.